is IRIB English Radio. Coming up is the news.
As it heads down a reconnaissance plane belonging to the Saudi Air Force. China calls on the United States to demonstrate good faith and return to the 2015 Iran nuclear deal. Myanmar unions call for a nationwide strike starting on Monday with the intention of shutting down the country's economy in an attempt to stop the recent coup. Appreciate you being with us. The Yemeni military has shot down a reconnaissance plane belonging to the Saudi Air Force. Army spokesman Yahya Saudi said the plane was hit over Jaf province with a missile which was used for the first time. This is the latest retaliatory attack by the Yemeni military in response to Saudi Arabia's deadly aggression against the impoverished nation. Earlier on Sunday, Saudi warplanes targeted areas in the capital, Sanaa, and some other regions in Yemen. There are no reports of possible casualties. The Saudi war on Yemen, which began in March of 2015, has killed tens of thousands of people, many of them women and children. Saudi Arabia has also maintained an all-out blockade on Yemen, hampering even the humanitarian aid there. Well, let's cross over to Sanaa, joined by Abdulatif Al-Washali. Abdulatif, thanks so much for being with us. Well, please fill us in on this latest situation.
Thank you so much. The Yemeni Army's air defenses have successfully shut down a combat surveillance belonging to the Saudi coalition, to the Saudi coast. Actually, it's Turkish-made. It was above the Al-Mazariq Directorate in Governorate carrying out aggressive missions against the Yemeni people. It's not the first time that the Yemeni army targets this kind of a drone successfully. It's been many times. This drone is very sophisticated, so this is an indicator of the Yemeni army's improved capabilities regarding air defense. The Saudi coalition had launched several airstrikes today in Sanaa, so this comes as a response to these hostile acts by the Saudi coalition. The missile that targeted this drone is not revealed yet, and it will be revealed according to the spokesman of the Yemeni army at the time.
And now, with the situation, Abdulatif, with this type of pressure now that the Saudis are facing, what are experts saying? Is it likely that there will be more talks and possibly talk of a ceasefire, or is that a possibility? Is it being talked about right now?
The Yemeni army will not stop its offensive regarding Marib and also the operations targeting Saudi Arabia and other facilities. The Yemeni army is putting more pressure on Saudi Arabia, so the talks will only be resumed, we believe, after the liberation of Marib, and the Saudis will have to accept the humiliation of accepting the defeat in the war in Yemen. The Yemenis and the Ansarullah movement refused to meet the UN envoy to Yemen, Martin Gaffis, because he did not be stick to his promises. So the Yemeni army will continue its operations, will continue putting more pressure on Saudi Arabia to release the detained oil vessels, and also to have a proper negotiations where the Yemeni people are the winners of this war.
Thanks so much for being with us. That was Abdul Latif al-Washali on the ground there. Well, the Chinese foreign minister has called on the U.S. to remove its, quote, unjustifiable sanctions on Iran as quickly as possible in order to save the 2015 nuclear deal.
Now that the U.S. administration has expressed willingness to return to the JCPOA, we hope the U.S. side will demonstrate its sincerity and take actions as quickly as possible, including removing the unjustifiable sanctions and the long-arm jurisdiction on third-party entities and individuals.
Wang also criticized the U.S. for its unilateral withdrawal from the agreement in 2018 and its maximum pressure campaign against Iran. He said the U.S. actions have led to a renewed escalation of tensions in the region. The top Chinese diplomat also called on Iran to resume full compliance with the agreement. Iran began scaling back its nuclear deal commitments 1 year after the former U.S. administration left the multilateral accord. Tehran cited the failure of European signatories to fulfill their commitments. Well, the current U.S. administration says it will rejoin the deal once Iran returns to full compliance. Tehran, however, says the U.S. must remove its sanctions before Iran rolls back its remedial measures. And the Iranian foreign minister has once again stressed the importance of the complete and effective lifting of U.S. sanctions against his country. Mohammad Javad Zarif made the comment in a meeting with the delegation headed by Ireland's Foreign Minister Simon Company in Tehran. The top Iranian diplomat said Tehran would be ready to take compensatory measures after the removal of the sanctions. Earlier, President Hassan Rouhani also made a similar call in his meeting with the Irish delegation. He called on Europe to end its inaction on the 2015 nuclear deal. The Irish foreign minister said the U.S.'s withdrawal from the accord had been a historic mistake, adding that the new U.S. administration is determined to re-enter the agreement. Company is visiting Tehran as the UN Security Council facilitator of the nuclear deal signed between Iran and 6 world powers. The British-Iranian national Nazanin Zaghari, who was serving a jail term on charges of espionage in Tehran, has been released. A lawyer representing her told media that she was freed following the end of a 5-year jail term. The lawyer, however, set a hearing for his client's other case of propaganda activities against the Islamic Republic is scheduled later this month. It is not yet clear if Zaghari can leave the country. She was arrested by an Iranian intelligence team at Tehran's international airport as she was about to board a plane to London in 2016. She faced charges of espionage for the UK. Zaghari was released from jail in March of last year and put under house arrest for her remaining term due to concerns over the spread of COVID-19 in prison. 3 Palestinian fishermen have been killed after an explosion hit their boat off of the Gaza Strip. Our correspondent in Gaza, Ashraf Shannon, brings us the details.
When the bodies of the 3 fishermen arrived at the hospital, officials there said that the fishermen were hit by an explosive device, possibly fired by the Israeli gunboat that patrolled the sea off the coast of the Gaza Strip. There were other incidences today by Israeli gunboats firing at Palestinian fishermen over the past decade or so. Israel has killed over 2 dozen Palestinian fishermen and injured thousands more. Palestinian fishermen come almost on a daily basis under attacks by the Israeli military that keeps the Gaza Strip under a tight aerial land and naval blockade since 2007. We're still waiting for more details on what happened this morning off the coast of the southern Gaza Strip, town of Khan Yunis. But so far, the Israeli military denied that it attacked the boats. Palestinian fishermen not only suffer from the Israeli naval attacks, but sometimes they also come under attack by the Egyptian Navy as well.
Myanmar's major trade unions have called for an extended nationwide strike starting on Monday in the latest attempt to stop the military coup. Well, the walkout is backed by 9 labor organizations. They say the aim of the strike is to cause further and extended shutdown of the country's economy to reverse the seizure of power by the military. The army took over the elected government on February the 1st and detained civilian officials, including the de facto leader, Aung San Suu Kyi. Protests have been ongoing since that time. Well, a new poll suggests the support for German Chancellor Angela Merkel's party and its ally group is at a 1-year low as the country reels from the coronavirus pandemic. Now, the survey conducted for Bild newspaper shows the approval of the Christian Democratic Union and its Bavarian sister CSU has fallen to 32%. Now, the paper attributes the drop in the center-right bloc's popularity to the pandemic. The poll comes just a week before 2 important regional parliamentary elections. Germany's coronavirus cases have surpassed 2.5 million after the country reported over 8,100 new infections. The Central European country has also reported some 72,000 deaths so far. The German government has come under fire for its slow vaccination program. Now to France, which has extended its weekend lockdowns to northern parts of the country as the nation is struggling to contain its coronavirus outbreak. Well, the measure now puts more than 2 million people across France under weekend restrictions. The pandemic has killed 88,300 people across France, one of the highest death tolls in Europe. In some countries, COVID restrictions brought people to the streets. In Austria's capital, protesters demanded the resignation of Chancellor Sebastian Kurz. Many of them did not wear masks or observe social distancing. In Sweden, people rallied in the capital in defiance of a government ban on large gatherings. 6 police officers were injured in scuffles with protesters. Meanwhile, a shipment of more than 250,000 AstraZeneca vaccines destined for Australia has been blocked from leaving the European Union. Big pharma companies are being pressured to honor their contracts as frustration grows across the bloc. Now, the vaccine rollout is going very slowly and supply is dwindling.
Italy, disgruntled by the delay of vaccine supplies to Rome and general vaccine shortages in the EU, has called for a shipment to Australia to be blocked. By doing so, it is activating for the first time an export control system instituted by the bloc to make sure companies like the Anglo-Swedish drug maker AstraZeneca honour their contracts. Australia says its vaccine rollout will not be affected by the ban.
They are in an unbridled crisis situation. That is not the situation in Australia, but nevertheless we've been able to secure our supplies and additional supplies for importation both with Pfizer and AstraZeneca, which means we can continue the rollout of our program.
Out of 450 million Europeans, only 11 million have had a COVID-19 jab. Tired of waiting, countries like Denmark, Austria, Poland, Slovakia and the Czech Republic have given up on Brussels and turned to other suppliers. This week, Hungary received its first shipment of Russia's Sputnik V vaccine as another surge of the virus races across the country.
By next week, Hungary will be the most vaccinated country within the European Union. But even this pace is not fast enough to prevent the spread of the virus and especially its new variants.